Hi guys, today we're going to talk about Mary Wollstonecraft's A Vindication on the Rights of Women. It was written around the turn of the 18th century as we transitioned into the 19th century, and it's considered a founding work of feminist philosophy. Okay, first, let's start with the title Vindication. That word means controversy. So there were already topics at play here where people had set views. So this is Wollstonecraft's way of presenting some of her resistance to the views that had already been put out. Earlier, she had written A Vindication on the Rights of Man, but this piece is considered much more important. Wollstonecraft dedicated this to a man named Talleyrand, who had written a report for the French National Assembly, which includes a section on how he thinks women should only have a domestic education at home, where men should have a more public education in schools. Wollstonecraft took issues with this position and therefore responds to it directly in this vindication. She broadens the topic to include women's place in society and the progress of mankind as a whole. Each chapter reads as its own essay, looking at the same ideas but using different perspectives. In these essays, Wollstonecraft engages other authors by name. Pay attention to Jean-Jacques Rousseau, who is influential on the French because of the French Revolution. Costume change! Okay, I'm back. So as you start to read, you want to think about what is the argument that Wollstonecraft is making in her piece. So consider, why does she think that women need a more well-rounded education? What does she think that that is going to do for humankind, society as a whole? Wollstonecraft was writing when the Age of Enlightenment was turning into the Age of Revolution. The Enlightenment was 18th century, where there was a development of public opinion and social forces were challenging the nobility, gaining social and economic classes, and there was a lot of criticism of existing society exploiting other humans. They wanted a rational society based on human nature. The revolution was more of where people wanted change and had to push for it because the status quo did not want to let go of any of their power. There were drastic changes to move away from the old to the new. During this time period, the French Revolution was happening, the American Revolution was happening, and a revolution in what is now Haiti was happening as well. The French Revolution was more radical and nearby to Britain. There was a lot of debate as to where the revolution should go. What was the goal of it? Should they redistribute the wealth, include more people in social institutions, or open doors to discussions from marginalized people, such as women? If you're giving these ideas to men, if you're giving them these opportunities because of revolution, why not include women? This idea was bothering the men because they wanted to keep the women subordinate, and the women weren't actually supposed to be part of this revolution. Keep that framework in mind as you continue reading A Vindication on the Rights of Women. The public sphere is really important at this point in time, and Mary Wollstonecraft falls right into it. The public sphere is anything regarding the public spreading information to the general populace. Pamphlets were being published, novels were being published, and Mary Wollstonecraft was living a life in this public eye that was very unconventional. She was earning a living as an author. She had tried the traditional roles for women, such as companions and governesses, um, and decided not to follow in those footsteps. So she really is trying to exemplify the type of life that she thinks that all women should have and be a part of. Um, and that gets put into some of the main themes that are within this work, where she considers how women should act, what the role of love should be, what their education should be, what their roles in society should be, and so on. I hope you enjoy reading this, and I hope that this background information helps give you a clearer idea of what Wollstonecraft's goals were and what her mindset was when she penned A Vindication on the Rights of Women.